in terms of trends, and will there be any evolution we should be looking out for? On this panel, we have Joshua from Tribe moderating, Zeph from Animoca, Yingzi from Metaverse Summit, and Brian from Polygon Studios with us virtually live. And from Enjinstarter, we will have Rishi with us. Before handing it to Joshua, for all of you tuning in, there will be a Q&A session at every end of panel. So if you have any questions during the sessions, do feel free to drop them in the Q&A box so that the moderators could read them out after. Also, feel free to interact within the chat box. If there is any particular speaker you hope to direct the questions to, please do indicate them in the questions as well. All right, I'm all done with the housekeeping. Joshua, are you ready? Please take it away.
All right, cool. So welcome to all of you joining us online, and for those of you who are there in person. I'm Joshua, the moderator for this session, and today we've got quite the all-star cast discussing with us the future of the metaverse and the GameFi space. So we have Brian, Rishi, Yingzi, and Zeph. So no one's really here to hear me talk, so we'll start by letting the speakers introduce themselves, following which a quick guided discussion, and finally we'll open the floor to the Q&A section. All right, Brian, ready to take it away?
Well, thank you, Joshua. Yes, Brian Trunzo, Polygon Studios Metaverse lead. Polygon Studios being the advisory arm for blockchain-based games, open decentralized metaverse, NFTs more generally understood as collectibles and or fine art, vis-a-vis the Polygon blockchain. So acting as an onboarding engine and also acting as a partner success team and marketing team to those decentralized applications and large IP holders and brands who are building on Polygon.
All right, cool. Rishi, would you like to continue?
Hey guys, I'm definitely not Prakash, so if anyone knows him, he's a hard guy to imitate, so filling in on for him because he's not that well. I'm Rishi, the head of Web3 innovation at Enjinstarter. I work in the department that focuses on helping onboarding companies, brands, and communities to Web2 and Web3 through education and advisory. A big part of what we do revolves around audience and product insights that paves the way for our strategy and go-to-market plans. We also have an established launchpad that Enjinstarter is primarily known for, and we've done around 40 plus IDOs from gaming to Metaverse projects, where we help projects redefine their launch strategy and fundraising closer to the IDO launch. We have clients from all around the world, various backgrounds, from traditional sectors, DeFi, gaming, entertainment. All in all, extremely happy to be on this panel. Hope to add as much value as possible for everyone here.
All right, awesome. Okay, Yingzi, you want to introduce yourself?
Sorry, changing devices. Omni-channel metaverses, right? Hello, my name is Yingzi. I'm the founder and organizer of Metaverse Summit, which is going to happen actually July 16th to the 17th in Paris. Hopefully, maybe next year in Singapore. Happy to be here. My background is more like in video gaming, but also like blockchain gaming. So using all kinds of technology to reinvent kind of how we design the gameplay, the game experience, and also interactive experiences. Happy to be here and thank you for the invitation.
All right, awesome. The final speaker, Zeph.
Hello, everyone. I'm the Director of Digital Strategy and Partnerships at Animoca Brand. Currently, I'm trying to bring more audience and companies, brands from the Web2 world to Web3, focusing on music, entertainment, fashion as well. Really happy to be here today.
All right, cool. So thank you all for introducing yourselves. Let's quickly move on to the discussion section. So maybe we can start in the same sequence we did this earlier. So what inspired all of you to kind of focus on the metaverse and the GameFi space? So Brian?
Yeah, I enter the metaverse space through the lens of fashion. Back in 2017, I had exited 2 businesses that I founded and was kind of searching for meaning in a way. I wasn't mentally in the best place. And I had stumbled upon Ethereum and went down that rabbit hole. And at the time, I had been trend forecasting for a large trend forecasting service. That's to say, speaking to the C-suite of large luxury and designer brands about what the kids were getting into. And at that time, we were hearing more and more about cosmetics in-game economies prior to blockchain-based games, of course. And that's when CryptoKitties erupted onto the scene. And I sort of made it my life's goal to plant a flag there and really start to establish a reputation as someone who was thinking about the way that NFTs would change most everything, but really through the lens of fashion, right? How cosmetics that were verifiably and immutably owned by the players, by the users, by those who are using what would become virtual worlds on decentralized platforms, how that would change the mechanics of games, the mechanics of entertainment. So from 2017 straight through to 2021, had worked in that forecasting and consulting space, launched a Metaverse and Web3 consultancy, and around the time where I realized that I couldn't burn the candle at both ends, keep my job in fashion, doing the consulting thing alongside that, looking to grow that business, I realized that I had to leave my full-time post. A job opened at Polygon. I was in the FWB DAO, just kind of waxing poetically about Polygon in the Discord, and someone presented the position to me, and it just made complete sense. So that is how I got here.
All right, awesome. And Rishi, yourself, what inspired you to focus on the Metaverse GameFi space?
Yeah, I mean, I come from various tech backgrounds, so I've always been into tech and anything kind of new. I've been trading for a long time, you know, from a day trading point of view. And obviously, as you get into crypto, and like Brian said, you get it down, you know, the rabbit hole, it kind of consumes you. I was given this really amazing opportunity at Enjinstarter to kind of, you know, come and help demystify the space, as we saw a huge gap in, I think, people really understanding what are the opportunities that, you know, Web3 and especially blockchain provide. And I think, you know, you have this really polarizing point of view in traditional companies and, you know, with the Web2 world and, you know, all the kind of OG communities out there. And it was a really, I think, immense challenge to try and, you know, change their point of view on or how they could look at things through a very different lens without kind of, you know, throwing this very aggressive stereotypical language that, you know, we're all used to. And that's how it started. And that was, you know, about 6 months ago. And, you know, now we're working with clients all around the world to just, you know, educate and help them kind of get onboarded into the space and to see it with a really real lens, I would say.
All right, cool. Yourself, Yingzi, how do you, what got you focusing on the Metaverse and the GameFi space?
Yeah, actually, as I mentioned, I was working in AAA video game. The interactivity and people's value actually are very important for me to working in the space. So it's not about, you know, the gameplay, it is more about like social interaction. So there are different formats. There are human-machine interaction as well, using VR, AR, XR, hologram, whatever kind of new innovation. So for me, Metaverse is really like a melange, like a new mix of different type of experiences, leveraging different type of emerging technology. So that is what got me intrigued. So I was doing research about that. Basically, it's an emerging field, so many interesting projects. That is why we are also organizing Metaverse Summit to showcase all these kind of innovations, the interesting points.
All right. And yourself, Zeph, why the Metaverse? Why GameFi?
Yeah, it's actually quite funny. I think it's a love and hate like feeling that I have towards blockchain, because like back in 2016, 17, I was having my own startup in fintech. Everyone was raising money using the name of blockchain. I was like, come on, that's not the real use of blockchain. And I kind of like hated that back then. And then of course I take notes of what blockchain can do, and I try to like keep track of the market and everything. But then I think until the start of last year, and I saw GameFi taking place, and I saw like DeFi and everything, and I feel like it's the time to jump in now. And of course, Animoca, we have a lot of like GameFi project, and we have invested in different play to earn games, and I see how play to earn can change the life of people in, of course, maybe Southeast Asia and other parts of the world. And I feel like this is something that I would like to pursue my career in.
All right, cool. Actually, on that point, Zeph, maybe you can tell me a little bit. So what do you think are some important trends to kind of really look out for in the space?
That's a $1 million question. Of course, I mean, play to earn is one thing, is really a hot topic in last year. But for us, I think it's like play and earn and immersive experience, because at the end, the game has to be fun to play, and people, I mean, put in money, tons of money for fun games to just to escape from reality in the past anyway, right? And if the play and earn and tokenomics can come into place like correctly, I don't really I can't really say what's the correct formula for that, but I think we will have to take a look into tokenomics in the play to earn or play and earn game, and like keep an eye out for really good gaming studio coming to the space and making good games. And the second thing is that immersive experience is what we're trying to focus right now, because to bring more like traditional people or Web2 people into Web3, I feel like we should offer something more to attract them. And what I'm doing right now with fashion and music is that, of course, we give back the digital asset ownership to the audience. At the same time, we try to offer something more like maybe some XR related stuff to attract Web2 audience onto Web3.
All right, cool. And yourself, Yingzi, do you have a different take?
Yeah, totally. So for me, as mentioned, all the other panelists as well, it's always about human, it's about interaction, it's not only about the technology, right? So blockchain as itself, as I saw since like 2017, 2018, from infrastructure level, now it becomes like a more social use case. Of course, it's not like mass market yet, but through actually all the gaming and blockchain gaming and play to earn, or let's say play and earn, we actually include a bigger audience. We have better experiences also about all the embedded technology behind. So I think that is kind of like the transition phase, right? We are having this new storytelling, this new narrative to bring on board not only like the DJing about DeFi, but also include all the experiences around it. Of course, everybody in the field also think GameFi is not only stopping there, it's not a gamify the DeFi. It should be about a better experiences, open world, more diverse style, more diverse gameplay. So this is currently the work in progress. All the different companies, like from bigger studio to smaller indie, they are trying to make the sense out of it, meaning that the onboarding procedure from Web2 to Web3 need to be seamless. For instance, also all the gameplay need to be of high quality as people expected. So all those different topics are in progress, and happy to be witnessing this transition as well.
All right, cool. Rishi, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think that those are great points. I think moving away from just people talking about doing NFTs all the time. Like, I've been in so many meetings where everyone just says, yeah, let's NFT this, let's NFT that, let's tokenize this, tokenize that. I'm sure we've all kind of been there. But I think taking a step back and going back to what Yingzi is saying about the human element and actually understanding who are you trying to speak to, what are their motivators, why would they be interested in this? What is the relevance of them spending this money on tokens, right? What are their fears with Web3, right? In terms of, fraud and education and all of these things. I think we're seeing that shift kind of happen, obviously with the current market very, very quickly. People were lucky early on with the metaverse to kind of ride the hype. A lot of people had first mover advantages, they're creating new things and people were experiencing it. Right. And I think right now you have a lot of people creating this ultra realistic world, but then you also have, different audiences that want fantasy worlds. You have, people who want that medieval kind of, classic world. And I think it's really important to kind of take that step back and really look at the audience and figure out who you're really trying to talk to and what is it really that they want before you kind of move ahead, with your actual kind of execution plans.
All right, cool. Brian?
Yeah, I think my co-panelists did a great job of answering this question. If I'm to pull on a macro thread that has presented itself from their answers, I think it's that, one, games just have to be more fun, right? If we don't go any further than where we are currently with the state of Web3 games, then we're just simply not going to make it. And I don't believe anyone on this panel believes that this is the apex, right? That we've achieved like peak Web3 blockchain-based games. So I think we do have a long ways to go, which is the most exciting part about working in this industry. I think related to that point is the elasticity of the word games. I think that what one would deem a game is growing, and that IP holders, media companies, straight through to fashion brands and sports properties. We'll be developing more interactive games as everything that can be gamified will be gamified, and users and gamers' attention will be sought after from mobile straight through to immersive AR and VR experiences. So I think it's a really interesting time to be in the business, and I think that the amount of growth that we have ahead of us is really exciting.
On that point of growth, I'm just curious, what do you think are some of like the bigger challenges you think facing some of these projects, really kind of stopping them from growing even quicker?
I think one of the big sort of elephants in the room is the tokenomics of Web3 games. Most Web3 games today are victims of their own success, in a sense that the inflationary tokenomics make it such that the more people that you attract into your ecosystem, the less profitable it is to actually play the game. So the initial intention of being play to earn or play and earn or whatever semantics you want to use to describe the actual game becomes sort of diminishing returns over time. So I think making it a fun game is hard enough, right? So now to throw tokenomics on top of it makes it a very difficult task, and there are galaxy brains out there that are working on this that will find that delicate balance. I myself am not one of them, so I'm very thankful that these game studios, developers, and publishers are building upon Polygon to make us look good, in a sense. But I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges that lies ahead is striking that delicate balance between a really fun game that's free to play. You can just engage with it. You don't have to engage with NFTs. It doesn't have to be competitive. It's just addictive and fun. And then introducing tokenomics gently thereafter.
Sorry, Rishi, do you think we'll ever kind of strike that balance?
Yeah, I mean, I will. Sorry, not I will, but we will. Sorry about that. I think it's a really tough one. I think a lot of communities, I would say, had a lot of kind of entrepreneur mentality type audiences within them. So just as quickly as they rose up and as quickly as the token price kind of, dumped, like Brian said, they quickly left. And I think that's made it a lot harder for the rest of the projects to even kind of, look at fundraising within the space. And so they have to be a lot more creative with their tokenomics, be a lot more sustainable, look at even, traditional fundraising as well, right? And that's where I think, there's a really, really strong, impetus on building sound businesses and projects, right? Is can you actually, crack that whole kind of area as well? But yeah, I mean, it will happen. It's just evolution. I think, it's starting to get there. I think, people will evolve, people learn more, people, mature and get educated about different things. So, we're still at a very, very early stage in this whole journey.
And yourself, Yingzi, do you think this is, what do you think are some of the bigger challenges? I mean, balancing the tokenomics in the game aside, what else do you think there is?
Yeah, definitely some valid points, important points that has been mentioned. From my side, also I saw some roadmap and planning issues with a lot of projects, meaning that in the beginning, either they will be very ambitious, saying that we're going to build a AAA photorealistic open world style blockchain game. And I don't want to point fingers to a certain project, but in the end, like the promise doesn't keep up with the reality, right? So a lot of other projects, to avoid this kind of problem, they have a very not ambitious goal, meaning that so many projects are crowding into pixelized or voxelized the world. So this is like two very extreme, but some good project that I saw actually can be very realistic about what can be done with the solid roadmap, what style can be kind of a niche and can attract certain audience, and do it according to the capacity and the realistic roadmap. I think that kind of project can face this challenge of, unsorted planning. So apart from tokenomics, I think also it's important for blockchain people, like, the Web3 people, to understand there's not only tokenomics, but also realistic game design issue and layer design and all the storytelling, different side of things, not on chains part of it. And for the gaming people to understand that tokenomics are important, cannot mess up with that.
Cool. So Zeph, what about yourself? What do you think are some of the bigger challenges in this space? I mean, we talked about tokenomics, talked about needing to balance ambition and a bit of more practicality. What else do you think there is?
Before I jump into like what was the other challenges, I want to echo what Yingzi mentioned. I think the group project will stay, and I think actually the bear market right now is a really good opportunity for us because previously when everybody was talking about exiting and play to earn games, a lot of people just FOMOing, a lot of investor was FOMOing. So there was a lot of trashy project that we saw every day because we were getting pitched by all those play and earn, play to earn games every single day. And we saw a lot of people just having ideas without like execution plan or execution team, and they raised tremendous amount of money. And that's what worries us a lot because a lot of investors, no matter it's traditional investors or like new blockchain Web3 investors, they may not have the expertise to DD the team or like DD the execution power of the team. And it's actually give us or the whole industry a bad reputation because one, like bad games out there, they will say it's like a Ponzi scam and like whole play to earn or the Web3 is a scam, right? I mean, we heard that a lot. So I think is a really good chance or good opportunity right now in the bear market to see what are the good projects. And I think the good project will be staying for sure. So I think challenge, yeah, of course, that would be a good big challenge out there, but it's a good chance for us to see what good projects are left as well. So the other thing I think, besides the tokenomics or like the execution power of the team would be the onboarding process as well, because some games are really difficult for non-crypto, non-Web3 people to join. And I think a lot of projects out there are trying to smoothen the onboarding process. And actually some of our games, like some AAA games that we are going to launch really soon, we're going to do some like free airdrop to people to join the game. So people don't really have to spend money to get in the game in the first place. What they have to spend is just like their time, just like the traditional game. Like you may not have to pay to get the game to start with, right? So you just have to get the free NFT to go into the game. And if you spend time and finish the first chapter and you give us feedback, and you can get a POAP that you finished the chapter 1, and then you can go into chapter 2, and then you can earn something else. So I think this is something we're trying to do to smoothen the onboarding process. And I think with the help of this, more people will join into the Web3 gaming space.
All right, awesome, cool. So maybe I can, we kind of talked a little bit about challenges. We kind of talked a little bit about important trends to kind of watch in the space. Maybe you can tell me how you like the space to play out in maybe say 5 to 10 years. Where do you think it will go there?
I think 5 to 10 years is like super long. It's like lifetime. I mean, I joined this.
Let's do 5 years first. We can go to 10 years right after this. Yeah.
I joined this industry for 1 year, but I feel like 3 to 5 years already. I mean, this crypto time is just like in parallel universe. And I think let me start with 1 to 3 years and then long term. Okay. I think like 1 to 3 years, as I mentioned earlier, some more AAA gaming studio will come into place, and I think more traditional gamer will join, and they will find this model makes sense, because in the past they just like keep on paying money and their time, and they don't really get anything back. And I think in 1 to 3 years that would make sense to them, and I think more we can attract more traditional gamer into this, and of course more non-traditional gamer like myself. I don't really play games because I feel like I get nothing back from it, and I really like the idea of play and earn, because I actually get something back. If I don't want to play this game in the future, I just sell it back to the community who needs it, right? And I think in the longer term, more like immersive experience because of technology evolved, maybe some interesting like XR we don't have to go into VR right away because of the device requirement. But I think just utilizing people's device on hand, for example, mobile, so like smartphone cameras, maybe we can do something interesting with capturing people's emotion and showing that on like the metaverse instead of just like a cool screen displaying my character out there. I think some more immersive experience would attract more people and try to I say, because looking at the screen and looking at my character, I don't really feel like I'm in it, right? So I feel like some XR technology would help in maybe 3 to 5 years hence.
All right, awesome answer. All right, and yourself, Yingzi, what do you think? What do you think the space? How do you think the space is going to play out? Maybe in the next 1 or 3 years, right? Then we can talk about 5 years a little bit later.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I would say maybe the future I hope for, right? Because it can go in different directions. So I really like the product and project who are like linking reality with virtual experiences, meaning that it's the technology, but it's only there to help us, to connect us. It's not there to separate us. You are not alone inside of a VR headset watching something like a 360 degree that doesn't make sense for the future. Maybe it's the current state of art out of the technology constraints and limitation, but the future should be in a way that maybe leveraging AR hardware and different kind of devices to experience the world in a different way, to connect with each other in a different way. So of course, all the tokenomics that we're talking about is the underlying infrastructure level that is important also for the future. But since we are starting all the GameFi this year, and in the future, it's going to be the top layer of the experiences and human-machine interaction and human-human interaction on top of it. So hopefully in 5 to 10 years, we are connected. We are using seamless technology to use services and social platform and all the other futuristic stuff that we can't imagine today.
All right, cool. So I would love to hear your answer, Rishi and Brian, but I think there are some fairly pressing questions from the floor. So quickly, let's open up the floor to our Q&A portion. All right, awesome. So does anyone have any questions at all? You guys just feel free to drop it in the comments, or our lovely moderators will pass us the questions accordingly. Well, I guess while we are waiting, Rishi, maybe you want to tell us a little bit more as to how you see the space maybe kind of moving around in about the next 1 to 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love for more people to be educated about it, to actually understand the technology offerings that it brings, rather than it being looked at as a good and quick way to get fundraising. I think that would really help. I think we need a lot more of the world, obviously on this for it to survive and be sustainable. I'm definitely a big fan of all the things and gadgets that Yingzi was, talking about. I'd love to see how, all these digital assets and NFTs can actually come to life in reality a lot more through AR as well. Like I think there's some really cool things that are being built where people will be able to see all these digital creations in our reality. And I think, at least in hopefully the next 1.5 years, I'd really like to see how that really plays out.
All right, awesome. And Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, I think just shooting 5 to 10, because we've covered good ground 1 to 3. I think user behavior will become more important than the actual progress, meaning we'll get to a place where we're not using terms like NFT, metaverse. It'll just become part and parcel with what we do and how we behave. I often think about, back in the late 90s, how one would announce that he or she was going online. It was like this activity that you announced to people. You said, I'm going online, and then your modem would make all this noise, and you would be online tethered to the browser, and then you would go offline and back into real life. And it would be really odd for us to announce right now that we are online, right? It's just part of what we do. It's part of our existence. And I think as these digital experiences through AR tools, through metaversal virtual worlds become part and parcel with our day-to-day lives, we'll stop saying things like the metaverse. We'll stop describing assets that we own within these virtual worlds as NFTs. It will just become very normal for one to exist in a gamified world and own his or her digital assets. So I think, just looking back to Web 2, for instance, and that's also a term that we didn't use all that often to describe Web 2. Someone came up with that term in the early 2000s. It caught, it caught a little bit of attention, and then it sort of dissipated as Web 2 grew into what it became. But using Facebook as a bar, Facebook launched in 2004. By 2009, within 5 years, it was already a $100 billion company. By 2014, it was approaching $1 trillion. And I think that level of velocity in social media and Web 2 will be eclipsed by the velocity that Zap was talking about earlier. We're living in dog years, right? Like 1 year is like 7 in crypto and Web 3. So I think 5 to 10 years out, I think it's safe to say that user behavior and technological advancements will make it such that we stop using terms like NFTs and metaverse, and we'll just be living in it.
All right, awesome. So we finally have a question from the floor. So I'll open this up to the entire panel. Anyone, just feel free to chime in. But can you guys maybe offer any insights into the metaverse, or maybe GameFi or NFTs for kind of social impact or for social good? So a little bit of context. This person's exploring a use case on their startup and kind of really want to connect with one of you. So what are any insights into the metaverse or GameFi, anything for social impact? Anybody?
Maybe I'll just jump in. I mean, it does depend on obviously what the project is. I think there is no, perfect cookie cutter model that can be applied to everything. I think, one of the best things that the industry can offer is really transparency, right? So if you're looking for, a social impact project, or you're looking at fundraising for a nonprofit or anything like that, I think laying out that transparency layer using the technology, looking at creative ways to fundraise and give people that ownership to see how their funds are actually traveling through an ecosystem, I think is very valuable. And that's something that we're telling like a lot of our nonprofit clients to actually look at this space for, because they already do a good job, collecting funds. They do a good job kind of being able to kind of distribute it. But now how about making it a lot more transparent and actually giving people a lot more ownership with where they see it go?
All right, cool. Anyone have anything else to add? Shoot.
Maybe on examples from like a gaming point of view. So there are different DAOs, and mostly DAOs, but some guilds also are trying to build an infrastructure level, like open source tools, discuss together about how to build the tool set for the future of gaming, meaning that a lot of companies, they don't know how to do. And then once they build it, they just gotta keep it inside of their company as intellectual property. But this kind of a new structure are trying to push to a sense that, okay, this kind of new tools should be public good. They should be open to use for all kinds of indie developers or big companies. In the Web 2, Web 2 game, or it shouldn't be distinguished as Web 2 or Web 3 because it's also infrastructure level for the game building. Like Blender, they have a very good approach of building like a free to use tool for all the people who enjoy building a game to use it. And it's very high quality. So in comparison with all the very high priced tools and complicated to use tool, it has a community. So in the Web3 approach, I see this kind of organization, DAO organization doing this is very exciting, but we are in the very beginning as well. So if that's the part that interests the person who asked the question, I think maybe you can dig into some of these examples. Thanks.
All right, perfect. So I guess we have some exciting times ahead. I think we are going to make it after all. So on behalf of those tuning in and myself, I think I'd like to thank the speakers, obviously, for such an informative session. And on behalf of the panel and myself, I think it's safe to say we'd like to thank all of you for taking some precious time out of your schedule as well to really attend this session too. All right, then I think in that case, thank you, everybody. I think it's a wrap for our session. All right, I'll give it back to the organizers.
Thanks, Joshua.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joshua, for moderating the session, and to all the speakers who have joined us and contributed greatly to the first panel. Thank you once again to Joshua, Zeph, Yingzi, Brian, and Rishi for your inputs in the conversation. For everybody here physically, we would like to invite you to actually head to Room H to catch the second panel on user adoption and friction. For those who have joined our live session virtually now, do not worry, the content will be uploaded for catch-up for 2 weeks after today. Do feel free to catch it on our platform thereafter. Also, once again, for all of you tuning in, there will be a Q&A session at the